Did you know that?
Mao Zedong dreamed of longevity and believed that 1,000 virgins can give real immortality. That's why his bed was often changed by his mistresses. Most often they were illiterate girls from simple peasant families. They idolized their leader, so the time spent with him was a miracle for them.
The 25th of December is Mao Zedong's birthday, and I'm going to tell you 20 previously unknown facts and quotes of the great Chinese helmsman. It's going to be interesting. So let's go. Officially, Mao had 4 wives: a sister, a martyr, a guerrilla, and a witch.
At the age of 14, Mao was forcibly married to his 18-year-old third cousin, Luo Xu. The boy did not like her, but his father was quite satisfied with her, apparently as a mistress. So Mao quickly ran away from his father and wife. The second choice was Yang Kaihui, the daughter of the revolutionary's favorite teacher. The woman bore Mao 3 children. The marriage ended tragically. Yang was executed by communist enemies in front of her children. She could have saved her life by renouncing her spouse, but she did not. Later, Zedong poetically wrote,
"I lost the proud young. A noble husband was left without his straight poplar."
However, even during his lifetime, Mao cheated Poplar with his future third wife, He Zizhen, a guerrilla and fearless fighter. She bore her husband 3 sons and as many daughters, but quickly bored his spouse and was exiled to Moscow. The fourth wife, Jiang Qing, turned out to be the most ambitious. By the end of the 60s, she became a member of the Politburo, was one of the inspirers of the Cultural Revolution, and was going to become the ruler of China after her husband. Therefore, after his death in 1976, Jiang was pinned on all the crimes committed during this period. Qing was sentenced to death, later commuted to life imprisonment. In 1991, she hanged herself in a shower stall. Chinese newspapers wrote, "The witch is dead."
The man who has felt the wind of change should not build a shield against the wind, but a windmill.
Mao was very sensitive about all things. For example, he had 2 sleeping pajamas, each of which had more than 50 patches. In addition, he hated new shoes. At first it was given to bodyguards to wear out. After that he wore out his shoes to such an extent that even the cobbler refused to fit them.
In 1954, met with the Deputy Prime Minister of Great Britain, Clement Attlee, wearing pants with a large patch on the back. When asked why he didn't wear a different pair, the latter replied, "What difference does it make? Who's gonna look at my ass?" Mao loved reading passionately, to the point of self-indulgence. When he went anywhere, he had few clothes, but he took dozens and hundreds of books in wooden boxes. When he ate, when he was cut and shaved, when he went to bed, he never let the books out of his hands. He smoked, practically never letting the cigarette out of his mouth, and drank strong, thick tea. He slept astonishingly little and ate sparingly and irregularly. Mao never brushed his teeth, only rinsed his mouth and chewed tea leaves. "Have you ever seen a tiger brush its fangs?" he asked. The 4 pockets on the leader's Frankencoat symbolized 4 revolutionary principles: propriety, honesty, justice, and a sense of shame.
We are for the destruction of war. We don't need war. But you can only destroy war through war. If you want there to be no rifles, then take up a rifle.
Mao was particularly concerned about his safety, and he was guarded by more than 100 men. They were chosen according to the following criterion. First of all, there should not be even 2 countrymen among them. Young men should be strong, lush with health, and determined. They were mostly illiterate or illiterate villagers. In 1958, on Mao's initiative, China announced a crackdown on crop-eating sparrows. Since these birds can't spend more than 15 minutes in the air, the Chinese scared them until they dropped dead from exhaustion. It is said that about 2 billion birds were killed. A year later, the crops were better, but almost all of them were eaten by caterpillars and locusts, which the sparrows used to eat. The birds had to be imported from abroad. In 1973, the chieftain attempted to discuss a bilateral trade agreement with the United States, with American Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. Mao told Kissinger that China was a very poor country and had little to offer for sale, except, for example, women. Zedong was willing to send 10 million ladies to the States, saying that China had an oversupply of them. At the age of 72, he swam across the Yangtze River to make sure that the head of state was still strong and healthy. It took him about 2 kilometers to cross the river in an hour.
Did you know that Jared Leto and Kit Harington were born on the same day as Mao Zedong, and that Maria and Pierre Curie invented radium on this day? Especially for my viewers, I have created a series of 365 illustrated scrapbooks of the highlights of each day of the year. This is a great, inexpensive birthday gift. See it in the link.
Mao Zedong killed more of his countrymen than any other dictator. He once said that even if half of China's population died, it was justified, as long as the surviving half lived well. The dictator's decision alone to take grain and rice from peasants at harvest time led to the Great Chinese Famine that killed more than 30 million people.
China's population of 600 million is conspicuous by its poverty and backwardness on the face of it. This is bad, in fact. It is good. Poverty inspires change, action, revolution. On a clean, unmarked sheet of paper, you can write the newest, most beautiful characters.
At the time of the Cultural Revolution, every Hongweiban, a member of a youth organization, was obliged to carry Mao's quotation book with him to find answers for all occasions. Every day of any Chinese, regardless of age and social status, began and ended with a collective reading of the sayings of the great helmsman. In total, more than 1 billion copies of the book were published. Mao considered philately to be bourgeois bliss and forbade their storage in any form. Now the stamps of the Cultural Revolution are among the most valuable and sought after in the world. After his death in 1976, Mao Zedong's body was embalmed and preserved in a crystal sarcophagus in the Beijing Mausoleum.
And that's all for today. And tomorrow will be new interesting facts. So, subscribe to my channel right now, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!